Joined by Lamar head football coach Blane Morgan. Coach, thank you so much for joining me.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
You were hired as the Lamar head football coach December of 2019. Here we are in January of 2021, still have yet to take the field with your team. What are you most looking forward to about finally getting that opportunity?
I think you're just, as a coach and as players, what you love doing is competing. And so just the opportunity to step on the field and to compete against another opponent. And really, you just want to see what you have. You really never know, how good your team is and what kind of talent and what you possess until you compete. And then that's really the reward of all the hard work you do in the off season and in the weight room is the opportunity to go out and put on your nice uniforms and to go compete against a different opponent.
Preparing for a first year at a university has its challenges, I'm sure, but preparing in this environment, dealing with a pandemic, having an elongated off season, if you will, what has been the biggest challenge for you in terms of making sure that your guys are going to be prepared come their first game?
I think the biggest challenge, undoubtedly, and it's an easy question to answer, is just been the inconsistency of the ability to train. And what I mean by that is we have had all these periods where, you get them for a month and a half of off season, and you're trying to, create a different mindset of your team. And then the pandemic happens, and then they're off for 3 months, and then they come back and you have all this testing because you think you're going to play in the fall. And then you have half of your team out, and then they come back and they're in and out throughout the entire fall. And then we finally got some consistency, in October when we had fall practice, and the month of November, we finally had a month of off season where we could really work like we wanted to work and kind of come together as a team a little bit.
Talking about that time that you were able to actually take the field in October, November, what are the biggest takeaways that you were able to find from that time period?
Just a glaring amount of youth and inexperience. And there can't be a team in the country that lost 9 of their returning guys on their offensive line, guys that were supposed to come back and play that are no longer with your team. And so on the fronts, just a glaring lack of inexperience and depth. I think everybody in this league and at the FCS level is going to face a depth, going to have depth issues, but ours are elevated. I mean, they're elevated simply because of the attrition that we've experienced here in the last 12 months.
You talk about the youthness of your team. You bring back 11 seniors, I think somewhere around 50 sophomores and freshmen. Who has really stepped up, whether it's one of those seniors or someone who maybe we haven't seen in terms of leadership?
I think undoubtedly the kid that has kind of stood out is a guy that no one's really heard of, because when we showed up, he was a walk-on, and he was a transfer from a Division II school. His name is Jeremy Davis, and he plays tight end for us. And he's just been kind of an outspoken leader of this team. He does everything on and off the field the right way, and he's a guy that you can pinpoint it as the type of kid you want to be in your program.
You talked a lot in July about being able to get an idea of the identity of your team once you put the pads on. Now that you've done that in terms of preparation for this spring season, what strides do you need to see from your team on either side of the ball?
Whoa, I think just teaching them just in the preparation, day in, day out, how hard they have to work, and how consistent they have to be and work at such a high level just to get the opportunity to compete and put themselves in a position, in a game to be able to compete. In college football, it's so hard to win with all the things in the right places and the culture and the mindset like you have it. And so just really going into practice every day, these guys have got to learn just the intensity you've got to go practice with, and just from an execution standpoint, just how hard it is and how much you have to study the game in order to become a master at their specific positions. And with youth and, almost 50 freshmen and another 20 sophomores or second year players, you're just trying to teach them the basics of practicing and preparation, and then going out. And then with what we're going to do on offensive and in the defensive sides, there's quite a bit to learn too, from an X's and O's standpoint.
What are you most excited about this group of young men that you have? What, like, the potential that they have?
I think you have a group that is very eager to learn. And overall, right now, we have the majority of our team, it feels like they really like practicing and competing and playing the game. And so as a coach, if you have the majority of your team that enjoys doing that, that makes it fun for everyone. And so I'm just excited to get to that first game when you've prepped and you've practiced and been together for over a year, and just giving them the opportunity to go out and play and roll the ball out and see what happens. I think that's the thing you're looking forward to the most, is just for those guys to be rewarded for all this work. And I know they're going to be chomping at the bit come game one to get out there and play. And hopefully we've got everybody on our squad, because week in, week out, I think each team, it might come down to if each team has, key spots where they're not missing guys, or, the ability to adapt. Those are going to be the key things that really are going to determine the outcomes of these games.